All right. Oh, yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Let me get y'all some music going as we get things, loaded up and booted up in this space. Want to give people time to log in. Want to get you guys eyes on the charts. That little music in the background as we get started. Let me get this music up for us. Yup. All right, all right, all right. That's what I'm talking about. Hold on. Man, my computers are ticking slow on the disk going. But Discord is really slowing my PC down right now. Can't even turn it off at the moment. Yeah, if you just joined me on Discord, guys, I'm about to log off of Discord. I apologize. Uh, I think Discord is slowing my computer down, so y'all can go ahead and join on the YouTube link, and we'll continue class over there. All right, all right. For you guys on YouTube watching along, I see you watching on a Bitcoin chart, and that's great. That's where we want to start at. We want to zoom out, so we're not going to look at any time frames lower than the 4 hour time frame, right? We'll look at the daily, we'll look at the 1 hour, and we want you guys to get the big picture on the market as we go over this. So this is a market update. This is starting as the week begin. This is the very first day, and at man, this the market just opened at 6, and we already get some decent volumes going to the downside. So I hope you guys are prepared. Hope y'all in the right direction, and we're gonna go over what to look for in the market and to get the big picture as we zoom out. Right. All right. So let's go ahead and we start off here on the 4 hour. Let me tighten things up for a bit if it allows me to. There we go. Yeah, I know we got a little retrograde going on. So pardon me for any ticking. Hopefully the sound is working right now. I seen some people celebrating this music earlier, so maybe the sound is working. So let's hope that's working and that you can hear me. But what I want to show you guys, what I think is important to understand, is to look for the market as a whole, not just what we want to see. Of course, all of us are bullish and we want the market to be bullish. We want to see more upside. We make more money, using our collateral than using our debt, of course, right? However, I don't want you guys to be foolish in this market and make bad decisions based off of hope. So you know what? I'm having a hard time tightening things up. Let's just go ahead and zoom out. What I want you guys to see when we zoom out with Bitcoin, especially with Bitcoin, is that it was finding support and creating higher highs, right? But it has broken that trend. And some don't agree with me where I drew my trend line. So let me explain that, and then we're gonna like zoom in, tighten up some things, and look a little more, in a perspective. But the reason why my trend line is cutting through these areas instead of being created below these areas, like some would like to create their trend lines, is because I don't believe those are true trends. Like this one is pretty decent. I like this. If you was to hold it here, I can see that. But when I look for a true trend, I want as many touches as I can get. I want touches here, here, as many touches as possible to give me that definition. But at least here, I'm getting a lot of touches here. I'm getting a lot of confluence. What I see a lot of people drawing is a trend line like this. This is what I call a Hopian trend. They're involving these wicks, and you get very little touches. And these are weekly candles, by the way. This is not the small time frame. These are weekly candles. You get very small touches, on some wick a couple of times, but you're not getting the grasp of how often the market has tested a trend. Not like this, right? That's not how I feel, but some of them, a lot of people are drawing this trend, and because this trend is out, they think that we're still bullish. We're still looking for more upside in Bitcoin, and as long as we hold the support, we are okay. We should be buying dips. I hear a lot of that. I think those people are wrong, to be honest. I think that they've been giving you bad advice at least until and since October. You know what I mean? When the market's been bearish ever since, and they still saying buy the dip, and it's still going down. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying I don't agree. Different strategies, different people. There's ways that you can still benefit, right? But me, the way that I trade the market is I trade trends, and I think that we are in a bearish trend right now. And when I put my trend line the way that I like to hold it, right, where I can get as many touches as possible, here is slippage here, but it's still touch there. We touch there. When I see that, I noticed that we lost our trend when we lost 106K on Bitcoin. I've been bearish since then. A lot of people I know have been saying, well, no, we still have an opportunity. And as long as it's over 70K, I don't see what they see, right? I see the break. I'm bearish, and I treat the market as such. Let's zoom in. Now on a daily, looking at the market with the data that we see here, you got to think, you know, let's stretch this out a little bit. What you're asking yourself, when I look for trends, I look for higher lows and higher highs, right? Like we seen back here in May. We was in a downtrend in the winter, but going into the spring, we went into an uptrend. And right here we see this is our low, this is our high. This is our higher low, this is a higher high. This is a higher low, this is a higher high. This is even a higher low, this is a higher high. Right? All in that motion, I'm bullish. I trade the market and I trade what I see. This is a daily time frame that we're looking at right here. And while we see the market going into the upside, it makes sense for us to want to buy and hold Bitcoin as we notice us creating higher lows and higher highs. But it came a time when we peaked. And I don't know, because it followed was a black swan event, we all believe that, oh, it's okay. We're going to recover. We're still bullish. Everything is good. We're going to be all right. And that would have been cool had we created a new high or even a higher low. But way back here in October 20th, when price peaked at 116, it actually created a lower high than its previous, a lower high than even from July, right? When price slowed down here on Bitcoin at 116, we noticed that Bitcoin might just be bearish and that price needs to get above 124 to create a high, right? A higher high that will lead to a higher low and a higher high and a higher low. And that's an uptrend. That's what we look for in an uptrend. Currently, what happened with this 116 rejection, that being the high, the last high that we seen prior to the 124, it created a low at 100K. Following that low, we spiked up, and we grabbed resistance here at 107, which was cool. But that 107 did not create a higher high on Bitcoin. It created a new high, and that high is lower than its previous high. 107 was lower than the 116 high. So what we're looking for is for a price to create a higher low, right? What happened was we created a lower low down here at 82. Bitcoin is no longer in the uptrend on a daily time frame. This is obvious if you care to look, but many want to think that, hey, we're still bullish if. Okay, cool. We see that price did find support here, and we create a morning star pattern, and that's great. Price pushed up, and that's the bullishness that you seen last week. A lot of people are thinking that, aha, we told those bears they was wrong. They was predicting these low prices, and look at us. We went from 80,000 back to 90,000. We're bullish. That's what they're saying. That's not what I believe. I think that if price stopped here at 93.5K, that's a new high for Bitcoin. And that high is lower than its previous high of 106, which would lead me to believe we're still in a downtrend. If this is our new high, the price cannot get above 92.7, 93,000 in Bitcoin. If it can't get above that level, then my expectation is that this is the high and it will lead to a lower low. Our previous low was 81, about 80,000 actually. What is our on Blofin charts? That's 80.5, just about 80.6 area. That was the low for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin cannot break above 93.2, which was our previous high, then we're looking forward to dropping to create a new low. We see a resistance area here. We see an evening star pattern, and we see a bearish engulfing on the daily. These are not things that lead me to believe that we're bullish. Now, we have supported areas where I'll probably take profit as a day trader and re-enter my trades. But for the most part, looking at Bitcoin, we're in a downtrend until price breaks a higher high. Not necessarily a high, but this is our recent high, right? 92.8, about 93,000. Until price can break that high, I'm bearish. Now, even breaking that high, this is still a low, right? So this is our most recent high, 106, 106.4. When I said earlier that I'm bearish on Bitcoin because it would take it to break a lot of resistance levels, this is what I meant, right? It did break some, and it did have a steady uptrend all last week, which was beautiful for the bulls. I hope you enjoyed the move to the upside as buyers. But what I really hope you guys did was take profit. Buying the dip means nothing if you do not take profit, right? It took a whole week to push up by 10%. It's only going to take 2 days to drop down by 10%. And this is why I prefer to be a bear. Some say that, well, you can't predict the market. No one knows what's going to happen, right? And I agree. No one knows. If I knew exactly what was going to happen in the market, I'll already be a multimillionaire, and I'm not yet. Because, I just haven't made it there. But I do think that judging by the patterns in the market, we can make predictions. We can make hypotheses. We can make observations on the market and predict what could possibly come next, right? When we're in the uptrend, it makes sense to look for more upside. But now that we're in a downtrend, every time I see resistance come and create a pattern at a key resistance level, I look for selling opportunities. Like this one here. If you've read the candlestick Bible before, if you're familiar with trading, you can understand that's an evening star pattern. That evening star pattern was created lower than our most recent high, so it made sense to look for price to come down lower. Even once we pushed up, we found resistance here, and that is a bearish engulfing pattern, right? We had that bearish engulfing created below our recent high, which allow us to understand that we created a lower high, and then price created a lower low. It pushed up to find resistance, and the patterns we see here is an evening star pattern. You have an indecisive, followed by indecisive, followed by indecisive candle. You had a whole long term of indecision going on in the Bitcoin space. We did not know if it was going to be bullish or bearish, right? But now finally, the decision is made, and we have a bearish engulfing candle. This is leading us to believe that this has created a lower high. If we have a lower high, my expectations is for a lower low on Bitcoin. That's what I'm looking for. Let's move on to Ethereum. Now, we're going to go to the 4 hour. I'm sorry. We want to go to all three time frames: weekly, daily, and the 4 hour. Now, on our 4 hour, I've been quiet, and that's because the market has been bullish, and I'm a bear, right? I look for the bearish opportunity. I think there's more money in me shorting than me buying. So when the market looks bullish like this, I sit out. So when I've been quiet, it's not like, oh, I don't trade and I'm afraid of the market. Nothing like that. I could have bought the market. I see obvious reasons to buy it in this uptrend, right? Bullish engulfing reasons. I see obvious reasons to buy it. And my members, as I was trying to short this side, because I was a bear, I was looking for resisting areas. I would take shorts when I see evening star patterns. I would exit trades when they break above it, things of that nature. So I've been getting stumped out in profit a lot for the last week, because I was still looking for more downside. I've been wrong all week. But now we are at a peak level with Bitcoin. And we do see a pattern here. This is an evening star pattern, right? Run up to the bull, have your indecision, and your bearish engulfing. We see that bearish engulfing followed by another bearish candle coming down here to our 618 support. Maybe price can pop up here, find a little, resistance before we drop down and break through that support. So at this level, we are at a take profit. If you guys have been following me in my other channel and you sold Bitcoin earlier, you're in good profit. So you could think about taking profit. Me, myself, I'm actually going to hold till we create that lower low that I was talking about. So I'm not exiting yet. I'm swing trading this. That's why I'm not looking at smaller time frames. But on a higher time frame, you guys see why I'm done being a bull, right? That bullish trend. And I'm showing y'all the difference in my trend. I don't draw trends like with hope at the bottom. This would allow you to believe even here, oh, we still bullish. I still got a chance. We still gonna see upside. No, I draw true trends through the areas of support and resistance. By doing this, I understood that we broke the uptrend a long time ago, right? Was in this uptrend here. We had a little slippage. That bullish engulfing pushes right above that uptrend. Price was holding above it, and we are still looking nice. We broke the uptrend with this bearish engulfing. You see how this candle engulfed the candle prior? At this moment here, Bitcoin was bearish. This is November 28th. At this moment here, unless price can break above that shoulder, that's 92.3, the bears are in control. So price pushed down, held support here for a minute, pushed up to a resisting area, created this indecision, and then a bearish engulfing took over, and we're now down here to our first level of support. So will price pop up here or not? Yeah, it's possible. But me personally, I don't think support will hold. And if I'm in this trade until like Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, as a day trader, I think I can see lower prices. I think we can come back down here to 82. So I'm gonna hold on to my shorts for now. If you're a scalper, you might want to think about taking profit. All right, cool. We then went over Bitcoin. Let's head over here to Ethereum for a second. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, this thing with Ethereum, I've been calling shorts and I've been bearish on ETH even for a while. I noticed that the bulls took over around here at 28.50, and I told my team to retreat. So we was looking for these areas to resist. We took a couple of shorts, we took a couple of losses, and around here at 28.50, I said, you know what, this does not hold as resistance. Let's stop shorting and let's allow the bulls to do what they do. And that's what we did when we broke 28.50. We've been out of the market. We've been kind of chilling, right? I told my members when price go under 29.80 that we live and in charge. So we kind of been sitting sidelined. They followed my guide this whole time. We've been above this 236 area, and we just been waiting for an opportunity. We've had a couple of fake outs that showed us it was going in, but pulled all the way back. But again, I've still been saying, hey, we're still going to find resistance. We're still bearish. We're still creating a lower high. We're going to zoom out here in just a second so you can see what I mean by that and why my team was not looking for us to, go bullish just yet. Price really had to break a lot of resisting areas before we can bleed that. So seeing that we've held on to resistance, we created a lower high here. And by creating that lower high, we created it with an evening star pattern. It made sense for us to hold on to our shorts with Ethereum, to take on our shorts into the trades. And I've been telling them wait for confirmation when price go under 29.85. So not all of my members entered these earlier positions here, but everyone understood that once we lost this 29.90, 29.80 area, that we are red light for a go on Ethereum shorts, right? So we eating pretty nice. We eat pretty good for those that are following the charts and following the ways that we're looking at things. But let's zoom out. So we can get the big picture, because everyone's telling you we're bullish. And why? I'm not saying this to make anybody feel bad. I'm not saying this to just talk mess about any mentor out there. I'm saying this to those that are listening and they want to profit. Why would you allow anyone to convince you that we're in the bullish market? Looking at this chart on a daily, what do you see that I don't? What about this market makes you think that we're still in a bullish market? I thought we was going to go into consolidation back in the summer, right? And I was wrong. So my apologies for getting quiet. Let me move this thing over a little bit. In the summer, when I thought that, hey, it may go away. Nope, I don't need you. What are you doing? And price still continued to push up. But this is the consolidation time. August, September, October. We went into a consolidation period on Ethereum. We peaked around 47. We even made it all the way up to about almost 5,000, like 49.60, almost 5K with ETH. But we stayed in that same area from August to October, and we never broke that area. We kept trying. We just didn't. We didn't break it. We didn't go any higher. And then what happened when we didn't make any higher highs? Since October, we peaked here at 47.53, October 7th. That was our high. Price dropped with that Black Swan event all the way as low as 33.60, right? That was the low. We pushed up, found resistance at 4,300 area, and price dropped again, pushed up in October, the month that we look for bullish, the month that we look for higher highs to be created. I was bullish with you guys. I wanted to see things go up. It didn't. It paused at around 4,300, create an evening star pattern that we see there. And the evening star pattern is a lower high than the previous high. And what did that create? A lower low, right? Now price is lower than its previous. And we're hopeful. We're bullish. We want to be. We want price to take off again. We want to see Ethereum go up. And it gave us a decent correction. It ran up here to 36.71, but it found resistance. It did. Sorry, guys. It did not break into a new high. The high back here was 4,300. It didn't make it anywhere past 36.50. So for anybody telling me, hey, no, Ethereum is bullish, it's hard for me to believe it under 36.50. You need to break that. Until we break that, don't talk to me about Ethereum being bullish. Being in a bull market, being in a bull run. That's what I don't believe. Bullish is different. I'm sorry. I can be bullish. I was bullish last week. Once we broke 2780, 2850, the zone I said, I was bullish after that. I didn't want to buy because I figured I was trading against the trend. But when we broke 2850, I was bullish. My man Chris even came, my boy wealth builder, Chris, y'all know him. He's seen this morning star pattern. He said, bro, hey, I'm buying that bad boy. And he ran it up. Good call. Great call. I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't want to go against the trend, so I'm just really looking for these bear moves, so I ain't going to buy it. But I do see what you're saying, and it was bullish. So he took advantage of the bullish activity last week. He's actually taking profit and taking advantage of the short because he agreed with me just this morning when I said, hey, man, 3K don't hold. We're dropping. Like, yeah, you know what? You're right. So he ate on the way up. Me, I decided to sit out. I didn't want to go against the trend. I didn't buy against it. So I sat down, but I know some other people that did buy the market last week, and y'all made a lot of money. But I hope you took profit, right? Because we noticed that price did peak at 31.20. And from there, it created an evening star pattern. And if you didn't believe it before, now with this bearish engulfing candle that is created that did not hold our 236, we understand that ETH is bearish again. For ETH to be bullish, ETH needs to at least break above 31.20. We need to create a new high. We have to, right? If ETH has found resistance here, then the expectations of a price to come back down to this level of support. That's 2,700, 2,713 area. If that doesn't hold as support, we believe it's going to create a new low before price pop up again. So can the market be bullish? Yeah, in the future, after it finished this drop. But right now, seeing the resistance that, we had this run up, it was nice. So it was similar to this one, similar to this one, similar to this one. But they've all ended with these drops, these hard drops. So if you've been buying Ethereum, it's smart to think about taking profit now and buying it again at a cheaper price, right? Instead of holding at 28.88, seeing that we have a bearish engulfing on our daily candle and that price is still looking bearish. Before we move on to our next asset, let's go to the weekly. Now on our weekly, we are coming to supported levels. So we do have hope. Let's get rid of this for a second. Let's get rid of these little trends just for now. And let's draw key levels on our weekly. All right. Here we go. A key level. We see how this was support here. It was resistance here. It was resistance here, here, and here. It was support here and here. It was resistance here. This is a key level on the weekly that we can expect to be tested, right? Will it hold as support? Will it break and turn to resistance? Tune in on the next Dragon Ball Z to find out. At this moment, we just understand that this is a key level of SNR, support and resistance. So you want to mark that off. If you're selling the market, you want to think about taking profit. If you're waiting to see to be a bull or a bear, see what happens at this level, and continue to sell or buy this level if support holds. But this is a key level of support and resistance on our weekly, right? Above this, we're here currently. Let's mark off where we are now. Let's go up just a little bit. We need a precise with us being on a weekly. Bang! Here was support. It was resistance. Here was a supported level, and we're currently fighting that area now. But we have our zone here to look for this week. And it's one that I'm going to pay attention to. I don't know about you guys, but this level or this zone does not hold that support, then I'm looking for more downside coming from Ethereum. And this is woo. Y'all see on a weekly, this thing is saying 1525. That's the weekly. Not looking for that to happen no time soon. It might take months before we see it. But if support levels here doesn't hold, I trade level to level, guys. I don't make market predictions. I just think about if this level doesn't hold, this level is possible. I trade level to level, and that's what I'm seeing right now. That's what I'm sharing with you guys. But trade what you see. Let's zoom on out on Solana. Since we're already on a weekly, let's talk about it. Solana has peaked here at $260. We've seen it tested a couple of times. It ran up to 298, found another peak here in September 15th around 250 area, and since then we've been in a downtrend on the weekly. What we also notice on our weekly is we're at a supported level currently. This is a key level of support. We've seen there was support here before, support here, support here, support here, support here. If it holds, great for Solana. If it does not, that key level of support turns into a key level of resistance. And I don't know about you, but I trade candlesticks. And judging by this candlestick, that high wick is a rejection followed by a bearish engulfing would lead me to believe that that support level is not going to hold, and then I'm going to see more downside from Solana. Let's zoom on into the daily, shall we? Now, looking at this on a daily, we are in a downtrend. We have been in a downtrend on Solana since even before October. Our downtrend started in September 18th. That was our peak. We created an evening star pattern. From there, we dropped. Price recovered, pushed back up to a resistance level. It did find and hold resistance, creating a pattern with a bearish engulfing that dropped down to another level. Played around, went into consolidation mode, found a peak, creating another lower high, letting us know that the bears are in control. Guys, we have not broken this downtrend on Solana. To say that, hey, let me buy Solana right now because I think it's going to $300 is crazy. Now, if we break 140, 160, and then, hey, we can start talking. I see 174 right here on this high. But, that's just me and the way that I chart. So, anyway, we found a lower high here and price drop. Found, consolidation. We pushed up, created a new lower high at 174. That was in November. And we dropped. We went into consolidation mode, pushed up this last week like everything just did, found resistance here, and we've been dropping ever since. We at that key level of support I was talking about at 130, and that does not hold. Expectations is price to come down to about 108 in the next couple of weeks for Solana. So I don't know why anyone would say, hey, we bullish and so going to X amount of dollars. I'll see it. I'll switch to a bull when I see reason to. Currently, at this moment, we are bearish and seeing lower highs and creating lower lows. So if I'm a betting man, which I am, this is like what I do for a living, I'm going to bet that Solana is going to go lower. That's what I would put my money on. All right. Let's zoom into the 4 hour. Now, with our 4 hour, I did our Fibonacci retracement. We've seen our peak here. We already broke to our 236 here at 140. Found a little support playing around at our 382. Push back up to the 236. Just to show it up, test it again, make sure it's official, find resistance, and it's official like a referee's whistle. We are bearish on SOL and going back down to retrace this 122 level. Currently testing and, well, not even holding the support, but, testing the level of 130. And I think it's going to break right through that and continue to its downside. No reason to believe that we are bullish on SOL. We were in an uptrend for a week, right? We had a decent amount of time to see price go into a correcting mode, and it came back to resistance. We didn't get any higher than the price of 144. Found resistance, and we dropped with this bearish engulfing, pushed up, found resistance at 140, and we dropped with an evening star in a bearish engulfing pattern that's leading to more downside on SOL. So with this being our previous low, this is being our lower high, my expectations is for us to create a lower low. And maybe it ended up somewhere down here at this 108. Again, I don't do price predictions. I don't know where we're going in. I don't know how low SOL can go, but I don't see why we would be bullish. That's the biggest point I want to point out. Well, I buy assets when they're in the uptrend, when they're trading above moving averages, but I don't see why we would hold an asset when it's trading below all moving averages. It's just smart, right? Now, when we get into moon cycles, I'm not going to teach that right now, but you would understood why we take profit following the waxing crescent. So after this new moon, it was bearish. Then price has to correct. It corrected up to the waxing crescent. After the waxing crescent, we look for a continuation. That continuation is going to lead to a lower low, right? If we really understood moon cycles, trading this market could be easy. I know many people like to say, well, no one knows what's going to happen in the market, but we can use patterns to predict the market and make an educated guess on what could happen next. And that's all I'm doing. I'm using patterns, I'm using data, I'm using moon cycles. And with all these things combined, I can make an educated guess on where I believe the price could possibly go, which assets are better to hold versus others. We're going to do two more assets, and then I'm going to show you some metals, and we're going to call it a night. So we're here with SOL. We're in the bear market, guys. If SOL doesn't hold the support of 127, expect even more downside, and I don't see why you would be bullish on SOL. There's nothing bullish about it. You had your bullish market. You had a whole week to buy it, hold it, and hopefully you took profit. If you didn't take profit and you're still in profit, take it now. If you're not taking profit, then hey, good luck. Let's move on to BNB. I don't know what to tell y'all. I'm trying to help those that want to be helped, man. So BNB on the 4-hour, very similar to the same other patterns that we're seeing. We're creating lower highs, right? I went ahead and priced this here and our low here. So we held support for a minute. It just didn't. We dipped under it, came back and retested, created evening star pattern, and had a hard drop to the downside. Why did that happen? Is this market manipulation? Are they doing us dirty? No. We're in a bear market. Price peaked. It created a lower high. It rejected, and now it's ready to create the lower low. Like, this is a part of a pattern that can be spotted. You say market manipulation when we see that, that's never happened before. This is totally different, and we never seen this. This happened 3 times already, 5 times. How often you want to go back in time to see it? Consolidate, resistance, drop. Consolidate, correct, resistance, bearish engulfing, drop. Consolidate, resist, bearish engulfing, drop. Consolidate, run up, resist, bear. Wait, here it is right here. Bearish engulfing. Y'all see it. I don't want y'all to think I'm making nothing up. Bearish engulfing, drop, consolidation, resistance, bearish engulfing, drop, push up, consolidation, resistance, bearish engulfing, drop, correction, indecisive, bearish engulfing, drop, correction. It corrected all week, resisted, consolidated, dipped a little bit, came up. Here we go. Resistance, indecisive, indecisive, and that's an evening star pattern right there. Drop. It's not market manipulation. This is a pattern. If you notice the pattern, you can trade it and you can benefit from it. It continues to happen over and over and over, right? You just need enough patience. It was bullish for a whole week before it created the pattern that dropped again. But with enough patience, you've seen the same pattern that happened 2 weeks ago, a month ago, the month before that. It's the same pattern that leads us to believe that we're not in a bullish market. We haven't been in a very long time. But let's zoom out. People are buying dips, and it's okay to buy dips. I just wish that everyone was smart enough to know to take profit when they do so, right? When we're back here and we're trading above moving averages, let me turn the lights on so you can see. When we're trading above the EMAs, it made sense to say, let's buy dips, right? Every time the price dip, let's buy it. It's a good thing to do. But when we're under the EMAs, like we are now, buying dips isn't the best thing to do if you don't know when to take profit. Now you can buy dips and take profit when you retest resistance, and buy dips and take profit when you retest resistance, and buy dips and take profit when you retest resistance. But we don't want to buy dips and expect for them to create any higher prices while we're seeing they're resisting under the EMAs. So when I tell people that I'm not buying or I'm not bullish until we break certain resistance levels, that's what I mean. I'm not just telling y'all I'm bearish no matter what. If Bitcoin or what is this BNB was to break 962 resistance, I'll jump back on the bandwagon of bulls and I'll be buying and holding if price is above all moving averages. I'm not just a whole bear. You know what I mean? But I trade what I see and I try to educate those to help them see similar. I'm not going to buy hope. While price is under the moving averages, we are bearish at this moment. Do I know when we're going to be bullish? Do I know where the price of BNB is going to be next year? I have no idea. No one knows. But I can take an educated guess that as long as resistance is holding on BNB, that I'm going to continue shorting it. Looking at this on a weekly, BNB is coming to a supported level. So my shorts will slow down. And I'm going to pay attention and see what happens here. Will we get a pop-up? Will price go under? What's going to happen with BNB? Questions are still to be asked, right? We've been dropping for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. So is it possible to get a bullish week out of BNB? It is. It is very possible, right? But I just won't believe it until I see it. At this moment, we have resistance at my 7-day and my 20-day, and we're coming down to my 55-day, which is priced at 784. When price get there, I'll ask more questions. Will support hold? Will it break? You know what I mean? Will volume be taken out of market? Will it come in? I have questions there. But at this very moment at 842, and price seemed to be closing as a bearish engulfing for this week, I'm going to, starting this week, I'm going to look for more downside out of BNB. All right. 3 more assets, guys. 3 more. Let me go ahead and since we're already on the weekly with XRP, let's check that thing out. XRP on the weekly. And we are Gator underwater on the weekly with a red cloud. All right. Let me turn these lights off, though. I don't want to confuse you guys. So you can see it just without it. XRP has been in consolidation since way back here in November 2025. Wait, we are in November 25. Hold on, what was this? This 2024. We've been in consolidation for a year. It broke into this price level way back last year, November 2024. It took off. Y'all was excited when it got bullish. Came back, found support down here at $2 in March, and going into the spring. Popped up, found resistance, dropped back down, found support. Took off for a minute. Everybody was excited. 366. Wow, great times for XRP. And that was in July, and we have not seen a higher price since. We are bearish, or we're at least in a downtrend on XRP. And we can all see it and realize this on the weekly. Every week has been a little bit lower than this previous, right? We are in a bearish market for XRP. You don't have to be a rocket science to realize this right now, right? Downtrend on our weekly, coming to a supported level, key level of support, right? Here at $2. Hopefully it holds. Maybe we can get a little bounce up, find some support for a little bit. But if it does not hold and you break this range, know that you can come all the way down to about 75, 80 cents before you find support again, right? That was a quick move to the upside. It can be a quick move to the downside. So when it comes to XRP, guard your grill. Zooming in to the daily, we've been in a downtrend on XRP, like I said, since July. Since here, you've been creating lower highs and lower lows. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low with the black swan event. But even with that correction, we wanted to be bullish. And I wanted to be bullish on multiple assets. But price needed to break into a new high for us to remain bullish. Instead, it created a lower high and then a lower low. Then it created a lower high and a lower low. Then it's creating a lower high. So expectations for XRP is to create a lower low. And in this scenario, if that lower low is below $2, is broken the range, the exact same range that XRP has been holding on to for a whole year. 365 days, XRP has been holding $2 support. If you lose $2 support, it then turns into resistance. If XRP does not get back above $2 and hold above $2, you're bearish, or you at least should be bearish on XRP and looking for more downside. Zoom into the 4-hour. XRP has created what is called a Bart Simpson head. I'm not being funny just for entertainment, but it is funny, and I'm glad to entertain you. But really, these spike ups is a familiar pattern. You can look this up. It's a Forex pattern called a Bart Simpson head. It's just like you see his spikes of his hair. This is going to come down to complete his face. This support level before we pushed up will be retested, and that is going to complete the top of the head of a Bart Simpson pattern. Now, after that, the pattern can do as it wants. It doesn't have to continue to go downside, but I think it will, being that it has, this is your high. This is your previous high. We're in a downtrend. I believe that it's not going to stop here at his face, that it will create a lower price than its previous, which was $1.86. We're going to lose this $2 support, and we're going to even go under $1.86 over the course of the next couple of weeks. Right? We're looking at 4-hour charts right now. We're not zoomed into the 15-minute. We're not day trading. These are swing trades. So what I'm calling out, we can hold. If you're into shorting the market, we can short these assets for the next week or two before price finds its support level, before it creates this new low and want to pop up again like it did here, right? So that's all I'm looking for. The market cannot go down in a straight line. So at some point in time, it's going to find a level that's lower than its previous, and it's going to pop up to create a lower high, and then it's going to drop again. All right, cool. So we went over 5 major crypto assets. And because the market is bearish and I'm shorting these assets, I'm curious. I know that some of you should be curious on, well, what are you holding then, Dennis? I'm holding USDC. I'm holding gold. I'm holding silver, right? Because I'm not holding Bitcoin. I'm not holding ETH. Those are debt assets right now. So I hold my debt in Ethereum. I hold my debt in Solana. I can hold my debt in BNB. I can hold my debt in Bitcoin. All the assets I went over with you, I can utilize them as debt assets. And I'm using them because I'm getting rid of my debt. If I'm bearish on these assets and I notice that these assets can go down lower, then I'm going to use those assets to get rid of my debt. But I have to put my collateral somewhere. I have to hold something. My energy got to go into something. So it's either in the USDC, right? If I'm using InstaDApp, if I'm using AlphaFi, I'm using gold. If I'm holding assets on AVAX, I'm using XAGX, right? So I'm holding my collateral. I'm holding assets in gold because this is an obvious uptrend. This is on the 4 hour that we're looking at. We have an option between holding Ethereum and gold. Which one do you choose? Right? Just by being smart. And I know a lot of people want a dollar cost averaging the Bitcoin and ETH and SOL and BNB and XRP, those top assets that I talked about, because we all know that they're going to recover. I believe they will. I think that, ETH is going to break 5K one day in the future. I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow or this year. So I'm not going to hold ETH if I don't think that. Now, gold, do I think that gold is going to break 4,300 this year? Yes. Yes, I do. So it makes sense that I'm going to hold that as an asset. I'm in the uptrend on the 4 hour. Of course, it makes sense to hold gold instead of holding Bitcoin or Ethereum right now. Let's zoom out to the daily. Ooh, look how gold has been looking since the summer. When I said that, hey, let's take profit, even though I was wrong because the crypto market continued to go up until like September or so. I was wrong. I still was not wrong by saying let's swap into gold this whole time and hold this asset. And I'm not wrong now saying that we should hold gold as an asset instead of Bitcoin. If I'm a dollar cost average into something, I still want it to appreciate. I still want it to gain value. So no, I'm not dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin at this moment. Right? Like that's not dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Some people think I'm dumb for doing what I do. I don't know, but I'm not buying that. And when I bring my son in, he's not even 13 yet, and I ask him, is this bullish? He like, nah. So why would I buy? It's obvious to everybody that this is bearish. Why would I buy this with, I hope it goes back up? I have an option. So I buy this. And it's what I'm going to buy again today. I'm selling the market right now, shorted ETH with leverage. I'm about to show y'all my profit screens later on tonight. Y'all know how I get down like to brag. And those profit screens know that I'm taking profit by selling ETH and buying gold. I'm selling ETH and I'm buying silver. Right? These are the assets that I'm buying right now. Because when Bitcoin and ETH and all those turn around, they're ready to be bullish again, I'm going to have me a big bag over here of silver and gold that I can swap in it out. So if I'm dollar cost averaging into anything, doesn't it make sense to dollar cost average into an appreciating asset? This is on a daily. Let me give y'all the weekly. That's how well gold, silver has been doing. And y'all have this as an option. You got three options. They got XAGX. They have XA. You know what? I'm gonna list them, and I'm gonna talk to Daz. I'm gonna have a drop them here in this chat in the description, so y'all can find those assets. Same thing with gold. I know those I do know off the top of my head. You got PAXG, you got XAUM, and you got XAUT. Right? You got like three different assets that you can choose from in the gold realm. Well, you can start DCA in there or holding your assets there. That Bitcoin that you've been collecting this whole time, because you've been holding it since way back here, since we've been bullish, you can take profit from Bitcoin right now and say, hey, Bitcoin looking bearish. Let me go ahead and take profit from my Bitcoin and I'm going to hold gold instead while Bitcoin doing this little drawdown. When it's ready to trade above the moving averages, I'll buy it again. But currently, while Bitcoin is under all the moving averages on the weekly, while it's under all moving averages on the daily, while it's under all moving averages on the 4-hour time frame, we just decided that, maybe holding Bitcoin isn't the best thing to do with my energy. You know what I mean? So maybe I can put it somewhere else. Not saying that Bitcoin is a bad decision. I get it if you like the dollar cost average in the BTC. I'm just trying to share something new with you guys. What if? Walk with me. Instead of dollar cost averaging in the Bitcoin while it's going down, we think about dollar cost averaging in the gold while it's going up. You know what I mean? Like what if instead of buying Ethereum, while it's in its death drop like crazy, like dang, it closed me out of my trade, guys. I done got stomped out. I didn't even set a take profit. I just won 900% on accident because I didn't. And I'll show y'all in a second. But Ethereum just did this whole dump on the market right now. Like, are you going to hold this? Are you going to dollar cost average into this and keep buying some more of it, or do you want to buy silver? They just went up in the last 4 hours since the market opened. Because it was like 55 over the weekend. It's 57 now. Dang, I mean that's another 5%. On silver, and the market just opened like 2.5 hours ago, and silver is up again. But Ethereum is down by 5%. Silver is up almost 2% since the market opened today. Bitcoin is down by almost 4%. Gold is up almost 0.5%. And you have that as an option in this space to swap into whichever asset that you feel or deem necessary for your energy, because that's what your money is. That's what your involvement is in this space. You add energy into the network whenever you add your money. And right now, a lot of people are adding their energy into that. And I would just come here to tell y'all, don't. All right. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. I see y'all in the chat. I haven't had time to read it all, but I'm gonna come over here and start reading it now. Hopefully y'all was able to hear me and that y'all didn't get hit by this hard drop. I need to go check my money. I made money in a lot of places. Let me go and count my money. Peace, love, and abundance. I catch you all on the next call.